Hi, Nick. Bottom 9. Fly ball to right field as we enter the thing. Jake Fraley. What a play. Good for Jake Fraley. Just leaving him out there to dry, lefty on lefty, too, by the way. Don't know if anybody's noticing this, but I am.
You're dialed in, huh?
Well, I just think that they're going to have a reason. They're going to have a reason to explain why they don't make this decision over that decision, and they want to make sure that it's crystal clear. We'll see. Could be wrong. Chat, appreciate you as always. Like the stream if you're heading in here. We need strikes. We need outs. Need them fast. That's out of play. Fighting the fight. Chat, got to be honest with you tonight. I'm fighting the fight. I mean, if I yawn, it's not on me. I'm going to push through it all. I'm okay. No excuses. Not here to make excuses. But I don't know I don't really know what it is either. I feel like I should have had some decent sleep. I don't know. Guess sometimes just it's not your day, Nick.
Yeah, I'm with you. Had to get up a lot earlier than normal this week, so.
You fighting a cold too? A little bit of
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Man, what a shame. We're all limping to the finish line.
Yeah.
Ned says I have a blister. I don't have a blister, no. See, here's the thing about my hands. I have working hands. They build calluses on them. I don't know why, other people can't build calluses on their hands, but I don't know. I'm not going down that path tonight, am I? I might, but I don't really want to. It's just frustrating. It's more or less just being a fan than anything. I don't have an answer, And I've always been one to say, if you're going to complain, you should have an answer. Because if you're just going to sit there and complain without an answer, then you're wasting your time.
You know who is an answer, though?
Are you saying Alexis Diaz got this out before me?
I think there's a good chance.
3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. It's almost like we seen it coming, folks.
Blew it right by him.
That he did. Come on, Diaz. One more. One more.
Oh. All right, I'll pause this up. Let me know when you see the first pitch.
Well, considering okay, here we come. First pitch and a swing and a miss. He's got that fastball humming tonight. 95 miles an hour at the top of the zone. Orlando can't quite catch up.
Oh,
another one
right down the pipe.
Who says that? Who's that guy that says that all the time? What DJ is that? Chat will let me know.
I do not know.
Another one.
Oh, DJ Khaled.
There it is.
I thought you were saying right down the pipe. I was like, I don't know what DJ says right down the pipe.
Come on, Alexis. Let's do this. Whoa, nice zoom in work there. That was real nice, Bally. Kept me on my toes.
Oh.
All right. He caught up to it. All right, come on. One pitch away. Let's get out of here. Let's get an out. Likes, chat. Likes. Need it. How much do you think it is to have a sign on your on the outfield? Wonder what that is. Probably full. Probably don't even have room for one.
I have. That's one of those things I have legitimately no idea.
Yeah.
I feel like whatever number I throw out is going to be so far off, and I'm look so stupid.
Yeah, my gut tells me like I don't even know. 500,000.
That was actually where my head was. That still seems like kind of not that bad for.
I agree, kind of. Although I will tell you,
based on what I know from some other things.
We've watched almost every single game this year. Okay, here's the only argument I'd have back to that as we watch the 2-0 pitch from Alexis Diaz, called a strike, runs the count to 2-1, 2 outs, top of the ninth with a 6-5 lead. I would say if we had to guess the 12 people that were on the walls out there without looking at them right now, and we did ourselves a poll, I think I'd only have like maybe 3 out of the 14. So I don't know how effective it actually is. But, you know, hey.
So it's not like Chatterbox Sports when you advertise with us. And
that's right.
Everyone knows who advertises our show.
Exactly. If you polled 100 people who our advertisers are on the show, 97 of them are getting it right. Here we go. Strike away once again.
Oh, I didn't even see him.
Alexis Diaz wants a new baseball. He pitches it into the home dugout. Gets a little bit of the rosin bag. Drops it. The wind and the pitch and a swing. And a miss. That is Alexis Diaz, folks. 16 pitches. 16 pitches. I made a promise to myself and a promise to you that every single time this man went out there and does what we ultimately think he never does, which is make it a nice, smooth, clean inning, he does it once again. It's a 1-run save. Those aren't cheap saves against the Atlanta Braves. And you know what? Alexis Diaz, he deserves all the respect. Deserves all the respect. And by God, if he blows a save tomorrow, he's still going to get respect from me. All right? Now, if you know anything about this show, you know how long you got to wait.
And a bench to bench. Change hit in the air to deep right field. That goes to Lindsay. And the save. He's done. Get out of here, baseball. He's gone. Oh, my God. Can you believe it? Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep. In the dirt, it's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant. Larkins won the game. That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none. Welcome, Joe Orlando to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again. Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds. Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Chatterbox is a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive, hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the line. Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air.
All right, we welcome you into a winning edition of Chatterbox Reds and probably one of the most enjoyable games that I've watched from start to finish in a considerable amount of time. I thought there for a minute it was going to be another one of them ho-hum late in the year games, Nick, where you just kind of toss in the towel. You're playing a team that is better than you are. They're better than we are. And for the most part, we were going to try to find a couple topics of conversation, call it a day, go to bed. But no, the Reds fought back. And if anything, I'll say this before we get started on the whole show. I appreciate if that's how we're going to play for the rest of the season, just from the sheer fact that we have to watch the games, and that was enjoyable. So I just want to put out my heartfelt, my heartfelt feelings towards the Reds that I very much appreciated tonight's effort.
It's a big loss for the Braves. The Mets are currently winning 10-1 in the ninth inning, so the Braves are going to fall to 2 games out of a wild card spot with, I think, 11 games back. So that is a huge loss for Atlanta tonight. So tough scene.
Well, I mean, that's their problem, not mine. Michael Rolfe comes in and says, "My goodness, the Reds are back, and so am I. I'll be at the game Sunday, and this one belongs to the Reds. Trace, I'll text you about tickets. Missed you, chat. Business deal went down. Tooth news soon." All right, Rolf. He's out here in these streets making deals. I'm going to save what I have to say for the most of the show. I think that there are a couple things that I was like, just really, it brought joy to my heart to see. I'm not going to get all bought in on it because of it, but I at least feel like there is some semblance of hope again for some certain guys. Now, maybe that's just being a fan, but let me be a fan for a night. I'm, sometimes when you do a show every night, being realistic gets old. It just does. But we got a box score as always, Nick. We'll do the box score recap, and we have some painful news that we'll get into, along with some other areas of conversation. As always, though, the box score recap is presented by Nick Kirby.
All right, Reds kicking off their final homestand of 2024, first of 3 against the Atlanta Braves, who entered Tuesday 1 game out of the final NL wildcard spot. Braves hit 2 home runs and put up 3 runs in the first inning off Brandon Williamson. Williamson had to throw 34 pitches just to get through the first inning. Came back out in the second, retired the first batter, but then he had to leave the game holding his elbow. Did not look good. Reds trailed 5-2 going into the bottom of the 6th. Braves looked like they were in complete control of this one, but with 2 outs in the inning, Noelvi Marte smoked a double to cut the Braves' lead to 5-4. Then in the bottom of the 7th, Spencer Steer hit a 2-run home run to put the Reds up 6-5. Steer joined Elly De La Cruz in the 2020 club, and the pair become the first Reds teammates with 20 homers and 20 stolen bases since Barry Larkin and Eric Davis in 1996. Reds pitching called into duty early was fantastic. Fernando Cruz got 5 outs, just allowed 1 run. Carson Spires, 3 innings of 1-run ball. Buck Farmer and Brent Suter got the Reds to the 7th, Pagan through the 8th, and Alexis Diaz improved to 28 out of 32 in save chances this season. Reds win 6-5. Reds now 10-5 in the month of September and 74-78 on the season.
Some are asking if we're going to win out. That's what my kids were asking. I said, I'm not sure. But it only starts with tonight, and sure enough, the comeback win keeps that hope alive. But the deep drive of the day is sponsored by DSC and Spencer Steer, one of the bigger home runs of the year. 2-run home run. Now check this out. We always do this win probability stuff, It's like I kind of make a joke about it. But listen to this. 36.3% jump. Folks, that is large if you're keeping track of these percentages throughout the course of the year. The Reds' probability of winning after the home run was 79%. 100 mile an hour off the bat, 389 feet. That would give the Reds, as of course, a 6-5 lead. And speaking of leads, you know who's a leader in renewable commodities? DSC is. Specializing in biofuel production, used cooking oil collection, and aggregation and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. And thank you to DSC. Honest to God, if it wasn't for DSC, this is a bold statement, but if it wasn't for DSC, I don't know if we get to do this show every single night. I know that seems crazy to say, but DSC put us on the map. We very much appreciate them. Do they have socials or anything? I mean, I know that that's not a part of the script, but if you've got some time on your hands, maybe just find some DSC socials, shout them out, thank them for the deep drive of the day. It'll probably be some social media manager has got no clue what's going on, and you know what? That'll make it even more funny. So there's that. Rally Reds. You got it on the rundown. I think before we get into sad news with Brandon Williamson, I really got excited about Marte tonight. I really did. I'm not going to get bought in just because he made one slow roller, do or die play ground ball that he got the guy out at first on, but I am going to get a little bit excited about the backside double that he hit. It just looked like the guy that we had seen last year, and I'm just hopeful, maybe I'm being naive here, that all of this pressure mounted on him so much that it just caused him to get off to a really, really poor start. Because let's face it, there's other guys on this team that got off to a really, really poor start. And if their season was only half the season, they would have had a horrific season, is what I'm getting at. Espinal is one of them, right? And I guess I don't want to put Indy in that boat completely, Nick, because I know that he had obviously a hot month that was like in the middle of the year, so I don't want to negate that. But Jeimer Candelario, what would we think about Jeimer Candelario if he started off the year the same way that he would have if he got dropped in here halfway through the year? We'd probably think the exact same way of him and Marte. Not that that's a good glowing review for Marte, but you get my point. So I just out of this rally, it took a team effort to make it happen. I know Steer gets all the credit, but Stevenson had to get a hit to make it possible. It was a good team win.
Yeah, comeback win and a one-run win, something the Reds have not had a lot of this year. So that's exciting to see. Noelvi Marte was the player that stuck out the most to me. That one at bat that he doubled in, I don't think saw a strike until the pitch that he swung at. Every other pitch was outside of the zone. He took several close pitches. I think fell behind 0-2 in the count or 1-2 in the count. Fought back, worked it into a hitter's count, put a nice swing on the ball, made that great defensive play. That's great to see. Ty France just continues to have quality at bats. He just continues to be a guy that I feel like you probably should keep. I don't see why you don't. It just seems like you're going to be hard pressed to find a hitter with that kind of upside and that kind of professional type at bats in free agency for $6 or $7 million. I think I'd roll the dice with Ty France and see what I get and try to improve my outfield or something else. But yeah, I mean, overall, just a nice win. And like I said, I mean, this is a huge game for the Atlanta Braves. Reds won the season series against the Braves. If the Braves miss the playoffs, the Reds are going to be the team that they're kicking themselves for how they played against this year. So
yes,
kind of fun to be on the other end of that.
Yeah, listen, Braves fans tonight, right now, are burning the absolute world to pieces. I couldn't imagine how they feel because ultimately when you watch this Reds team, their lineup, guy after guy after guy, if you're not paying attention from a local level like we are as fans, we get to see these guys every day. I couldn't imagine what the national viewpoint of the Reds is. Yeah, they have Elly, but outside of Elly, they're probably like they have nobody that I've ever heard before. I'm sure Atlanta Braves fans right now are kicking themselves. But I guess we can jump into the Williamson news and then we can keep bouncing around a little bit. But Williamson obviously exits the game. Looks as if after he made a pitch, he grabs his elbow. He looked like he was going to try to power through it, and Tyler Stevenson obviously had seen it. So Tyler Stevenson did the right thing and said, no, we're going to have somebody come out here and take a peek. I don't know what the conversation was, Nick, because it took a while for them to make him walk off the mound. So that gives me a little bit of hope that it's not too serious, even though to be honest, I'm devastated. But it wasn't like he just completely tore his ACL and was crying and walked off the field, But I will say, it's just it's been so demoralizing as a fan with this stuff that at this point I kind of just throw my hands up in the air and say I give up. I really do. I don't have a take on any of it. I don't know whose fault it is. I know people are going to try to blame the training staff because they've already done that. They're going to try to blame doctors. I don't know what it is. I'll openly say right now, I'm not going to buy into the conspiracy theories, but I'm also not going to debunk them either. I'm really not, because it does seem kind of wild how this many guys continue to have issues this many times in a row. And they can't get over whatever injury they had prior to. And maybe that's the norm, to be fair. I've not paid attention to other franchises. So it's just a little disheartening. That's all, Nick.
It's really unfortunate for Williamson, a guy that had such a good end of the year last year. Unless I'm missing something, I'm pulling it up here. I did not see a single time he was placed on the IL in the minor leagues. Not once. So that's pretty remarkable.
Right.
You
I
don't
looked
see
back
many
in
pitchers-
college, too, and I didn't see anything in college, although college is a little more difficult to see. He made the most.
There was something in college.
Well, he made the most starts, though, of any starter his junior year at TCU. So, what was it in college? What year was it?
2018, underwent corrective surgery on both hips.
Yeah.
And then he was, in fairness, he was on the IL in September last year. It was only 7 days. And I think it was probably more of a load management type thing than anything else.
No, nothing serious.
But yeah, I mean, for him particularly, I mean, like guys like Lodolo have kind of earned. Well, I mean, not personally.
I get what you're
earned,
saying. Yeah,
but they've kind of have
Nick Senzel.
Yeah, like that reputation is fair that they're injury prone and stuff. But guys like Brandon Williamson and I don't know, but even Hunter Green, I don't feel like Hunter's as bad. It's just kind of, man, this year it's been all of them. And I don't know, you hope the pendulum swings the other way, but there's no guarantee at all one way or the other.
Also, my wife called me out. I did say ACL. I think I meant UCL, but who's counting? I'm not a doctor. I don't claim to be one. I think most people understood what I meant, so that's all that matters. But I put out obviously a post on X, and I guess I'd be curious to get your thoughts on this. Like, what do you do from a Reds organization on what guys can you trust going into 2025 and what guys can't you trust? Because it seems like there's too many guys, Nick. It seems like there's too many guys. Like, it'd be one thing if this roster was full of like maybe one or two guys that seem like they might be capable of being injury prone. But we're in a situation where I feel like you look at Ashcraft, which I don't know how much we're relying on him, but I'm just using him as an example. You got Ashcraft. You obviously have Williamson now. You have McLean. You have TJ Friedel. You have Jake Fraley. You have Candelario. You have CES. You have Matt McLean. That is, and I hate to say this, but that is, most of those guys are kind of core foundational pieces of what this roster needs to be made of to get to a postseason. And I'm not debunking it. I'm not here to say that, oh my gosh, we're screwed. I'm just saying, like, if you're the front office, though, you inevitably know that you can't rely on all these guys to be healthy because none of them have showcased the fact that they're capable of staying healthy in the big leagues. So what do? You
never count on pitchers. I've always been a never count on pitchers guy. You have to have at least 8 pitchers in your system on any given year that you are comfortable if they make multiple starts. If they go on they pitch at least a month or two of the season. You have to. Who can the Reds count on? I don't know. Pick a name. The only one I feel like pretty confident you can't count on is Nick Lodolo. The rest of them, it's a crapshoot. I can say, well, this guy's pitched pretty well. He has, okay, Brandon Williamson, like, guy never got hurt his whole career, and he gets hurt. That's just the nature of pitchers today. You have to stockpile arms. That's why guys like Jacob Junis are important. That's why I think you should spend the damn qualifying offer on Nick Martinez. If you have to overpay, you overpay. And this is why I love Nick Martinez so much. Because if all these guys happen to stay healthy, Nick Martinez can slide into the bullpen, and it's an easy transition. Where if you go get another veteran starter like a Frankie Montas, just using him as an example.
Yeah, I get it.
You can't just throw Frankie Montas in the bullpen. It's going to be really hard. That's why Nick Martinez, to this particular Reds team, it has just this incredible extra value to me.
It'll be interesting to see what they do because they're going to have to take a risk. And by risk, I don't mean like some crazy monumental risk that's going to put the franchise back years if it doesn't work out. But I will openly admit that there's probably 4 guys that are going to have to say, you know what? We're going to have to hope that they come back and they are the guy that we hope that they were going to be. Because if they can't go out this, we know this. We all know this. They can't go fix all these issues with free agency. And they certainly don't have the depth in the minor leagues at this moment to fix this depth right now. The real issue that this franchise is in currently, in my opinion, is the gap, is the pretty sizable delta between what we have as fringe big league players that were all prospects a year and a half ago that we were excited about. And it's almost like we've driven the brand new shiny car off the lot, Nick, right? So now everybody doesn't think it's as pretty anymore, even though it still can be just as effective as that pretty shiny car. But the problem is that if that car doesn't work out, we don't have anything to replace it right now. And we don't have the money to go in and fix all the issues that we might have. So I don't know. My guess is that they're going to bank on TJ Friedel. They're going to bank. They're going to bank on Matt McLain, but they know in the back of their mind they either need CES, Matt McLain, and Marte. One of those guys are going to have to be a guy. That way they can start shuffling pieces around. Santiago Espinal, I think, is on the roster again for sure. We'll figure it out as we go, but it just seems like in order for this team to make the postseason, this whole injury bug thing that seems to be going around has got to get kicked to the curb, and I don't have an answer for it. And I don't want to start conspiracy theories, but like I said before, maybe it's just a run of bad luck. It may be so, because that's possible too. Could just be coincidence.
Well, you want something positive? I'll give you something positive. Right now, the Reds have Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, Andrew Abbott, Graham Ashcraft, all on the IL right now. And their starting pitching coming into today had the best ERA in Major League Baseball in the month of September. Now, is some of that fluky? Yeah, maybe a little bit. No. But the FIP is 3.35. It's not that crazy. Like, they've built some pretty good depth. I mean, Rhett Lauder, Nick Martinez, Jacob Junis, Julian Aguiar, Brandon Williamson up until today. So, I mean, that's your top 4 arms coming into the year are all in the IL. And they still are piecing it together. So I would like to see them keep Martinez. I think if they keep Martinez, I still think they have enough arms. You also have Connor Phillips that we'll talk about in a minute. Looked really good again. Hopefully he's turning a corner. And obviously Burns as well. So who can you count on? I don't know. But that's about 9 or 10 arms that you kind of
I'm not worried about the arms.
You say a prayer that five can stay healthy at a time.
I'm not worried about the arms, though, Nick. I really am not. I think that that's the area that this team actually has what I would consider a postseason roster set. Like, you could have more than half the Major League Baseball would be willing to trade their pitching staff or their pitching depth or whatever, their pitching situation. They would trade with the Reds. Yep. The real issue is how many teams would actually trade the Reds lineup / roster makeup in the field? I don't know. I'm not trying to be rude, but there is not many. There is really not that many. I mean, you can say whatever you want. I don't think there's many. And if they are, I can tell you right now, they're absolutely abysmal baseball teams. You don't like that. I can tell you don't like when I say that. You're going to sit here and you're going to bring up how many runs they scored. But as I've said before, if we want to use WRC Plus, which is your bread and butter stat, they've been absolutely, say it with me, terrible, awful, league worst. That's where we're at right now. And I'm just here to say I would like for that to get fixed. And I'm openly admitting that it can't get fixed all through free agency. So take that for what it is. I mean, you want to have a little, I don't want to say rebuttal on it because I'm not speaking directly to you about it, but you have anything you want to add there?
There's at least 10 teams that would trade for the Reds offense.
All right.
And that's including Christian Encarnacion Strand, Matt McLain, Edwin Arroyo. There's more than you think. And the Reds are 25th right now in WRC Plus. They're
That's
at a
pretty
90.
bad. That's bad.
100 is that. It's not good, but when you can
25 out of 30 is not even having a discussion about postseason baseball.
But when you actually look at the actual numbers of WRC plus between what ranks 25th and what ranks 16th, it's not that far of a gap.
Well, what's it gonna take to get in the postseason? What's it gonna take? It's gonna take what?
The gap between, I'm going to throw the White Sox out of there. They're going to be their own thing on an island. Okay, I'm not going to throw them in there.
Yes.
The gap between 25th and 26th is the gap up to 16th is less than the gap between 25th to 29th.
Well, that doesn't matter though. It doesn't matter. There's like I said before, there's a freezing point in with water. If you're the what's the saying? Like, if you're the second best loser, you're still a loser. Like, I don't give a damn about how close we are to being average. That's what you're telling me right now. You're like, hey, Trace, if we could just get the ball to bounce our way a couple more times, we could be 16th. Okay, I'm not trying to say we need to be like top 5 or top 10, but I am not going to sit here and be like, wow, let me get excited. We can be 16th. We can be just past the league's worst, or not the league's average. So, all in all, my only thing would be, the question I have to you right now is, what's the delta between 15 and 5? How close
it's a big
is that?
gap. I don't think this team's anywhere close to like the top 5.
Well, I'm saying, what's the difference between 15 and 5? Like, is it big?
Oh, I went back. It's 22.
22 versus what? What was the one that you just said from 25 to 16?
25 to 16 was 9.
All right, so it's a sizable gap.
9% versus 22%.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think the Reds are anywhere close to a top 5, but again, I don't. It just depends. I don't know how much you believe in Christian Encarnacion Strand and Matt McLain, and I also just look at this Reds offense and I see 2 players that have performed above expectations. I don't think that repeats next year.
All right, I believe in that too.
That's
I can jump on that train.
I'm projecting. I'm not talking about this year. This year's done and gone. It's over.
Yep.
It is what it is. I'm projecting, and again, I think if I had to bet, you know what? Let's do it. I'm gonna say right here on September 17th, 2024, the Reds will have a 100 WRC plus or better, which is tough at Great. It's not as easy as Great American Ballpark. That would be in the top.
No, I know.
Top half of baseball.
That's something they haven't done in 19 seasons.
Yeah, they've had like 99. I mean, they've been.
Wow, they've always. I tell you what, you're taking a lot of solace in being just below bad. Just saying.
I'll say it. I think they will. I think they will. I also think at some point next year, people are going to be more excited about the offense than the pitching. Just like last year, how everyone was really excited about the hitting, the pitching stunk, and it all flipped in a year.
We just want winning baseball. I agree with what you're saying. I think that I think people would be excited regardless if the Reds are winning, even if it was like
fluky.
Well, no, I wouldn't say fluky. I would say like if they were below average and they somehow got lucky and they won a bunch of one-run games and they were well above, like I think that the vast majority of Reds fans would be like excited. They wouldn't even care that they've been getting lucky, right? Because at the end of the day, all that matters is whether you win or you lose. All right. I'm fighting the fight in 2 different ways now. I got like something going on in my throat, so bear with me. Game time. If you're looking to go to a game, there's no better place, and or a concert. We've talked about this before. There's no better place to go than the Game Time app. You can download it today. Use the code CINCY, CINCY. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. I've used it plenty of times. In fact, I'm browsing it right after the show, probably, maybe tomorrow. We'll see as we get closer to the game, because the Game Time app, Nick, I don't know if you know, you can wait all the way up, quite literally, until the game starts, a la Game Time. But yeah, I got to go and do a video board this weekend, so we'll talk about that. But there's a college football game that maybe I'm going to try to partake in, and I'm going to use the Game Time app. And as always, you can use it too. And you can download it and use the code CINCY, CINCY, and you can get $20 off your first purchase. And I think, Nick, you want me to say what time is it?
Game time.
Nice. 988, another big-time supporter of us in our show, and we very much appreciate them and really appreciate the work that they do, obviously, on a day-in and day-out basis. I'm sure not the most glorious kind of a line of work. It's something that's you got to be a very good servant. So shout out to 988, and please utilize that service if you and or a family member may need it, or a friend, or whoever it may be. As always, you never know. Reach out to somebody. Tell them you care about them, and you never know what kind of a difference that'll make. So, as always, thank you to 988 and mantherapy.org and the Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation for supporting our show. And I guess the last thing I'll say before we get through the ads here is, like, thanks to you guys for sticking with us. Like, in order for us to continue to do this, I'm not going to sit here and lie. Like, it requires people watching, and if you're going to watch, then ultimately it's going to give us more and more opportunities to be able to support this show. So thank you to everybody. I'm going to do some supers here. All right, Ned Flanders comes in here with some what is going on here? I'm getting care packages as we speak. All right, Ned Flanders, Will Pagan, that sounds like a name, decline his 2025 option. I don't know what his option is. You're better suited than that with me, Nick. But why the hell would he decline his option? I mean, he's been hurt all season long. He's not been a world beater when he's been here. That seems like, and I don't know what his option is. Maybe it's only like, league minimum or something. But what is his option?
I don't know. I think in June he already said, "Hey, fellas, I'm picking this up."
Yeah, I mean, he has to.
It is a $8 million player option.
Yeah, well, he's taking that.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's laughing all the way to the bank with that action. I hate these players. I maybe that's the. All right, I'm not going off the I'm not going down a rabbit hole tonight, Nick. But seriously, I am so sick and tired of having these options. The mutual options are dumb. Let's just get rid of them, okay? Seriously, because ultimately, if you like each other before you go to free agency, just get a deal done right there at the end of the year. It's the same thing, all right? Now, maybe we want to make it sound nice because it sounds like you have an extra year on the contract or something. I don't really know. Maybe there's some other legality reason that you're going to tell me about why they do it.
It's the buyouts. That's why they want a buyout in there. So if they call it mutual options, but it should really be like, you should think of it almost like a team option in a way.
It's a team option with a little bit of
because if the player declines, it's the contract's ripped up, it's done, it's void. If the team declines, there's some sort of buyout that they have to pay. So
right, and that's what I hate about it, because the player has the leverage in every scenario of that. Like, I don't like the idea of you signing a guy that it's a risky move, right? Like, if Martinez was absolutely horrible this year, right, and it was a player option, okay, well, he's going to take it. Let's just maybe you have to do that to get these contracts signed. Like, that gets the deal over. I don't know, but we need better negotiators, because I'm sick and tired of giving these guys options at the end of every single agreement. And I don't know.
I don't really mind. Like, Pagan having a player option for 2025 doesn't really bother me. Like, if Emilio Pagan would have come in and absolutely pitched incredible this year and said, "I want to go to free agency," I'd say, "Hey, thanks for what you did. Great. You're going to be 34 next year. There's a good chance you regress anyways." You know what I mean? So, like, I don't necessarily think in Emilio Pagan's case, the Reds would have gotten screwed if he pitched really well, because we know with relievers, a lot of times when you pitch really well one year, you don't pitch as well the next year. So, honestly, a lot of those type cases, the player might be doing you a favor.
That's fair. All right. Well, I'm not going to get too sad.
I would hate it more if it was Elly De La Cruz with a player option at 31 years old or something like that. That's the ones that really are brutal, not the middle relievers.
All right. I mean, like I said, we're talking pennies in the grand scheme of things when it comes to payrolls in Major League Baseball. Like, we're $5 million. Can you imagine a franchise like any of the major markets, like, spewing over $5 million? Like, I don't know whether we should pick up this $5 million option or not. The Dodgers lose $5 million when they're walking to the parking lot and they forget. All right. Rolf comes in. He says, where will Shang-En Lin be vacationing this offseason, Nick? It's probably going to be Arizona. Can we start an official fan club? What will his number for his Reds debut be? Next year? Shit, Rolf, you're out. What are you talking about? You talking about the Rojas, maybe, possibly? No way. Trace, I feel for Williamson. Very difficult. Back on the Sheng Lin train here. What numbers?
Sheng Lin is number 58. I feel like Sheng Lin's got to be like a number 1. Like he's a number, just like a 1 or a 0. You know I'm right.
No, I don't know you're right.
Just number 1, Sheng Lin. He's gonna start in Daytona though.
No, I think you guys with the Sheng Lin.
If he starts in the Arizona Complex League, I riot. And Daytona better fix those cameras next year with Sheng Lin coming. We better have a second wide angle. Okay.
Sheng Lin. Hey, I'll be happy to go see him in Dayton, and I can't wait to get his autograph.
Get hurt on our way down there, knowing our luck.
Probably. Let's stop talking about it. All right. Rolf comes in again and says Fergie wants a pretty shiny car, Trace. Yeah. Fergie has a pretty shiny car, and she's still paying on it. So I'm out here driving a 2000 and what am I driving? I'm out here driving a 2013 Honda Odyssey. Yes, I drive a minivan. And you know what? Someone stopped me the other day and say, don't you have a truck? I said, yeah, I got a truck. This minivan, it's so much nicer. I can just I don't have to worry about people hitting it. I can just throw all my stuff in the back real fast. The doors slide out.
Cheaper.
I'm just telling you, man. I know people are like, I don't have a big enough ego to care what people think about me when I'm driving down the road. I don't care. I'll drive that Odyssey until the wheels fall off of it. All right? And you know what? I kind of like sometimes people just, they don't. What's the right word to use? If you're driving a brand new shiny car, sometimes people think of you differently, and I don't think that that's fair. I don't like that. So I kind of like the idea of rolling up in a 10-year-old minivan sometimes. Just had the bumper ripped off the other day. I had to fix that. So, all right. Coach Corbin Shorts comes in with 2 super chats. I don't know if he or she is an Astros fan, but it appears that way. Astros are better. First super chat. Second super chat for a 10 bomb said Astros will win big. They'll win bigly.
Do the Astros not have a podcast? Or?
Well, I think that they just like our podcast. Listen, there's not too many other crazy idiots for these other franchises that do a show every single night. Let's be honest, Nick. So
I do love Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker is one of my favorite players in baseball. So shout out to you Astros fans for having Kyle Tucker. That dude is incredible. Tucker and Yordan Alvarez, those guys hitting back to back.
What
stuff? They're good. They're really good.
Yeah, the Astros are good. Breaking news: they go to the World Series like every year. So, yeah. I mean, you know what else pisses me off?
ALCS.
Arizona, the Diamondbacks. I think that city could give an absolute shit less about that team. Okay, and here they are. They're just waltzing in the sun. Those bastards get to live in nice weather all year long, have beautiful golf courses everywhere. The Grand Canyon's like 2 miles away up the road. You can go see that whenever you want. And you know what? They're just basking in the sun, and they're like, oh, have you heard, honey, about the Diamondback season? They're like, no. How are they doing? Oh, no, they're going back to the postseason again. They just went to the World Series last year. Meanwhile, we're going to be up here schlepping through snow in about, 90 days at most, and we're going to be thinking about our 2025 chances of maybe making the postseason and winning a postseason series for the first time in 30 years. Is this how Canada feels about hockey? I think it is. I'm going to start rooting for Canadian hockey teams in the NHL because I think that they have our pain. And I can relate to that.
Well, Phoenix did lose their hockey team.
Yeah, and nobody blinked an eye.
You could not pay me to live in Arizona in the summer. No chance. No chance. When I'm out shoveling snow, I think about how disgusting it would be to be in Arizona in July, and I say, you know what? This isn't that bad.
All right, fair enough. Steer 2020 Club. Shout out to him. What's better?
Someone asked me to put it on there.
I was going to say a very, very inappropriate joke, and I stopped myself. So I am proud about that. So I'm glad he can join that club, the 2020 club.
Yeah.
Didn't know that was a club that existed.
It is. No one since Eric Davis and Barry Larkin. I mean,
It's kind of embarrassing.
I mean, when one day I'm gonna tell my kids I watched Elly De La Cruz and Spencer Steer.
All right, we got to move on. This show's getting out of hand. All right. Shout out to Spencer Steer, by the way. Good for him. Green, Abbott, and Lodolo. I know I'm just throwing you off because we're going all over the place. I don't have a whole lot to say about what I had already said earlier in the show about the situation that is the Reds. Listen, I'm going to jump on the bandwagon that is yours, Nick. That I am not worried at all about this pitching. I'm really not, and I'm not going to buy the notion that you're selling. And I hope I'm wrong. God, I hope I'm wrong. Please make me wrong. I just worry about the offense. I really, maybe I'm overreacting like you said that I am on this whole pitching staff. But the Green, Abbott, and Lodolo now. And Williamson and Ashcraft and all these guys are hurt. But I still feel confident in that group.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of arms. We thought we had that with the offense. That's what really sucks, is because it felt like going to the year, the Reds had that crazy offensive depth, and it just, man, it went to hell in a hurry. I more just put this on there just for some updates for people listening on the podcast who may not keep up with Reds news. Yeah. Shout out to you. I'm sure there's some of you out there. Hunter Green, everything is progressing very well. Looks like he's going to start on Sunday and then also get to pitch, and that'll be the home finale of the year, and then also get to pitch in the final series. So that's great to see. 2 more starts out of Hunter Green. I think that would be really great for him to end the year. Andrew Abbott, there's still a possibility that he makes one more start. He did throw off the mound, so that's good. He's progressing back. Maybe he pitches in the last series of the year. Sounds like that's probably a bit of a long shot. Nick Lodolo officially shut down. I don't think there's any surprise there. Nothing has gone wrong with Nick Lodolo. He's just run out of season as he's done before. But Lodolo does still finish with a career high in innings and starts. So it's not much, but it's something.
Positive. It's a positive.
Slight positive.
I'm going to say this right now. I'm giving Lodolo one last chance. You know how when you look at your kids sometimes and they've been doing the same thing over and over again and you're just fed up with them and you look them dead in the eye and you say, I'm going to give you one last chance. That's what I'm doing with Nick Lodolo. If he can't figure it out going into next season with the whole, being on the field thing, then we're going somewhere else. And that somewhere else is in the bullpen, because I also don't believe we have that many good left-handed relievers. That's a whole story for another day. We'll save it for another day. We got one guy I semi-trust. I mostly trust. I mean, he's been very good, to be fair.
I could buy a 3 or 4 inning reliever. I could absolutely buy that. What I will say though is
the Nick Martinez of the bullpen left-handed.
I want you, Reds fans, on Thursday afternoon, when Chris Sale has just mastered through 7 shutout innings, the Reds have 1 hit, maybe 0.
Yeah.
I want you to go and I want you to look at Chris Sale's injury report and scroll to page about 9 and then be like, okay, there's always hope with Nick Lodolo that somehow it just all clicks. Because when it clicks, and I'm not saying Nick Lodolo's Chris Sale or anywhere on that level, but Chris Sale year after year after year after year, injury. And this year, somehow he stayed healthy and been dominant. So just remember, Thursday afternoon, when you're watching the Reds just look abysmal against Sale, think, all right, he finally stayed healthy. Maybe Nick Lodolo. Maybe next year will be his year. Or maybe the year after.
Let me ask a tough question here. How many of those years was after Chris Sale's initial contract?
I think he signed an extension.
I know, but I'm saying, how many of the years was he actually effective during his rookie deal?
Well, he finished second in the Cy Young voting during his rookie contract.
Okay.
He finished his 3rd, 4th, and 5th year in the big leagues. He finished in the top 6 in the Cy Young voting. So those would have all been rookie contract.
So is that what we should expect out of Lodolo?
I'm not saying expect anything out of it. I'm just saying there's tons of pitchers that have this injury-prone diagnosis, and it's earned based on what they've done. But somehow it works out, and they're able to stay healthy. They're able to put it together. Now, sometimes it completely falls off the cliff, and you never hear about them in 3 years. That could happen too. Not saying it can't, but there are a lot of pitchers that it's brutal, and it just feels like they can never stay healthy, and they keep grinding through it, and eventually they figure it out. You hope that could be Nick Lodolo, because if you do, he's absolutely a bona fide big league starting pitcher. I think we all agree with that.
It's fair. Connor actually brings up one quick thing that I thought was pretty interesting. He says, name one good reason to risk bringing Green back this season. Well, I'll name the good reason is this. You have professionals, you have doctors that are going to clear someone or they're not going to clear somebody. So I would just say once you're able to go back and doing an exercise or able to going back and doing something safely, why wouldn't you go back to doing that if you can get more and more experience? The more and more experience that you get typically in life, you get better at. And I don't know, I mean, if you want to believe that this is kind of like a ticking time bomb, if you want to call it that, or whatever other term you want to use, I don't care. If you think it's a ticking time bomb as far as there's a situation after Green throws so many pitches in his career, it's just going to be completely done, then okay, then we could have a reasonable argument about that and whether that's realistic or not. But like my main thing about this whole situation is do we feel better if he doesn't pitch at all and then he waits 6 more months or 7 more months and then all of a sudden he goes back to spring training and he has to throw again? I would feel a lot better personally if he came back, threw the ball, and I don't want to sit here and say like a ton, but he threw the ball a little bit to see if he feels good, because if he doesn't feel good, then I want there to get more opinions. I want him to see like, hey, maybe there's something wrong here that the doctors didn't get right, and we can get it fixed before we get into next season. Or he could just go through a throwing program this all season, take it light, get into spring training next season, and then all of a sudden he starts being a little more strenuous on his arm, and then all of a sudden we realize that, okay, there might be an issue. Well, I'd rather find out the issue at the end of this season than next season. Now, it's not a perfect scenario. That's not how it's always done. I'm well aware. But I just believe that if the doctors are going to clear him, then you move on. You go. Because there's risk all over life. I mean, I'll throw out a dumb hypothetical, but I would just say, what if he, and again, I'm going to make a little bit of a lighthearted joke out of this because I don't want it to be too serious. What if we shut him down and he's trying to go into his basement when he should be at the field, and he slips down the stairs and he breaks his leg? Well, I mean, he wouldn't have broke his leg if we would have not set him down all year. He'd be pitching, and he wouldn't have broke his leg. Now, I get it. That's ridiculous. But my point is like, there's risk all over. We need to stop being scared. We need to, in my opinion, this organization needs to stop being so damn scared about injuries and shutting guys down all the time, no matter what, out of precaution. Because in my opinion, so far in my eyes, I've not seen that be successful yet. I was told Matt McClain was going to come back and be healthy. He hasn't been. I was told Brandon Williamson was going to come back and be healthy. Well, he had a setback. I was told Lodolo, we're going to give him a couple weeks after spring training to kind of throw the ball, even though he said he feels great. And then all of a sudden, 3 months later or 3 weeks later, he's got blisters. Well, he probably has blisters because his hands are so damn soft he hadn't touched a baseball in 9 months. I don't know. Now, I'm again trying to be a little joking about this, but I'm just that's my reasoning, and I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that's my opinion.
And my reasoning is the same thing I've said before. So sorry to people who actually watch the show every day. It's just I look at Zach Gallen. Zach Gallen threw 243 innings, including the postseason last year. Hunter Green is currently at 143. So if you want the Reds to make the playoffs next year, if you want the Reds to actually be able to make a run in the playoffs, Hunter Green needs to be able to pitch a lot deeper than he's gone this year. And I think any extra start that he can get this year, any more that he can be pushed this year without, while he's cleared by the doctors. We're not going to do anything reckless and stupid. We're not asking for that. But if he's cleared by the doctors, he needs to be pushed to go deeper into the season, because if the Reds make the playoffs, it's really hard to see them next year going very far without a healthy and successful Hunter Green.
Reds MILB. I mean, is there any more of this? How much more of this do we have left, Nick?
You only have 5 more games after today, Trace.
That means Austin Hendricks has 5 games left in his career.
Well, Austin Hendricks' season is over.
Well,
he is
done.
done.
He is done. Well, then he's done. Congratulations to him. He'll be playing in the CABL next year.
I think he's still got one more year before Rule 5, so one more year to get it together. We did have some good news with some bad news. Tyler Callahan promoted to Louisville. He did not play, but he's going to get to play the last week with the Louisville Bats. I've really loved his season. I hope they put him in the fall league as well, as he's been hurt at times. But, man, he's been a really, really good player. I like the bad news was Joey Weimer was put on the IL, so it looks like his season's over. Hopefully next season goes better for Weimer. Still a guy with a lot of upside, still pretty young. But in this one, Louisville loses 7-1, but the story was Connor Phillips. No walks in 6 innings. You love to see that. 7 hits, but only 2 runs, 9 strikeouts. Connor Phillips finishing the year strong. That is just really, really good to see. Phillips in the month of September has a 0.93 ERA. So that's pretty good. Enjoying that. So good to see him finishing the year strong. Not a whole lot on the offensive side. Jacob Hurtubise had 2 hits. Nick Martini, I think it was his 3rd rehab game. He was 0 for 4. But Connor Phillips, good to see, Trace, finishing the year hopefully strong.
He didn't start the year strong, so that's nice. Tough year.
Didn't
for Connor
start or
Phillips.
middle of the year strong.
Yeah, it was a tough year
but no,
for
he's
Connor.
pitching very well, and at least he can go to the offseason feeling good. I mean, feeling better about where he's at.
Let's also be honest. Connor Phillips was a guy that come into this season. We were talking about how he was. I don't know. I wouldn't say Brett Lauder, but I mean, definitely higher than Chase Petty. I mean, he pitched. He was pitching in elimination games, if you want to call it that. I guess at the end of the season. I mean, some people are going to say that he was the guy that, that was on the mound when the Reds' season officially ended, and that is true, although I don't think he ended the season, to be clear. There's 162 games. I'm not going to blame one guy. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's another guy that we'd never bring up that maybe he catches fire, and he's, worthy of conversation heading into next season. All right, we do have more baseball to do, Nick, of course, so the who, what, when, where, and why, the rituals, and I guess we'll get on our merry way.
All right, 6:40 again tomorrow. Obviously, the Braves are in must-win territory. We get to see Jacob Junis again. Excited to see how he can finish this year. Man, he's been pitching really well. Reds will be going up against the right-handed pitcher Spencer Schwellenbach. 2nd-round pick in 2021 out of Nebraska. He has had a really good rookie season for the Braves. Got called up straight from Double-A. This guy only made 34 minor league starts. The Braves, man, they fly their players through the minor leagues. I don't know what they do. No one else does it like they do. But yeah, he's having a great season. Last start was really good against the Dodgers. 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs. So Reds will certainly have their work cut out for them tomorrow against Spencer Schwellenbach.
Best of luck to him. Maybe the Braves don't want some of their guys to get stuck in the minor leagues where they struggle, and maybe they will realize that they might have Reese Hines on their hands where, they can only perform in the big leagues. There's a lot of guys like that, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, if Reese Hines would have just stayed up, I mean, he would Reds would be in the postseason.
Probably Rookie of the Year with Paul Skeens. Be a 1-2 race.
Well, I think Skeens would be 3rd. Not Jackson.
Whatever his name is. I know you're talking about.
The Padres guy.
Yeah.
Jackson Merrill.
Jackson Merrill. Is he 100% going to win the Rookie of the Year?
I'm pretty sure.
It's wild to me that Skeens is not going to win Rookie of the Year. He's got to get 2.
And Skeens wasn't bad either. Like, it's not like he's been finished the year strong.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable. All right, you see Chatterbox Bengals down here in the rundown. As always, support those guys. They have shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays and going live during the game, and of course a post-game show. And as we wind down this show, please continue to support our other shows because, it's a big deal for our organization to continue to do well in all areas. So, other than that, I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it 1,000 more, I guess, as appreciate all of you supporting us because I don't know why else you're here, to be honest. But we appreciate you. Hope you have fun in the chat. I'm going to go try to dunk a basketball. Still undefeated in Pig down here, so there is that. Maybe one day my kids will beat me. This outro we got to fix too going into next season. It's just too fast. It's hitting it too fast. I need a little more runway. All right, I need a little more runway. But shout out to Alexis Diaz. I don't know if I said this already, but I just want to remind everybody that was a very smooth save. Place is a mess. We go dunk a basketball.
We got a super chat.
We got a super chat. We got a super chat that I missed. Hold on. Nope, we'll do the super chat. Roth. Driving a minivan equals driving a Cadillac, except it doesn't brake constantly. It's actually usable. And you don't have to deal with trash OnStar. No free ads. Roth. Now, if you're going to come to my house and stare at my cars and sitting in the driveway, next time I appreciate you just knocking on the door and coming inside and talking to me, all right? Now I'm going to go back to dunking a basketball. Very much appreciate your support as always, Roth. We need to figure out the tickets. See here soon. The season's going to be over. But, bam. Intro restarted. Now I got to figure out where this intro is. Or there. All right, here we go. Now, I don't know how I'm going to live up to all this. Still an athlete, though, for being honest. See you tomorrow. Hey, Ned. You didn't think I was going to get it, did you, Ned? Honda Odyssey all the way, dude. What are we talking about? It's not even a question.